Hey everybody, KC here. So tomorrow, as I think we're all aware, it's the 20th anniversary of 9/11. There have been a ton of stories, newspapers, magazines, online, documentaries, cable television, all commemorating that event. Everybody has stories about that time. Everybody has memories of where they were and what they were doing when 9/11 took place, and also in what happened in the days and weeks that followed. It's been interesting. I've been reading a number of articles in the Washington Post talking about what we've learned since 9/11 and how in some ways America became a better version of itself, but in some ways it did not. I happen to live in a town that is basically a commuter town for New York in southwestern Connecticut. A lot of the people in this town would get on the train every morning and go to the city. A lot of people here lost their lives. It seemed like for a long time there were nothing but funerals taking place in town as the numbers rolled in of people who had passed away in the carnage of 9/11. 2 doors down, I had a neighbor who was raising his kids on the street, and he was in one of the towers that went down, and he lost his life. You know, one of the things that I remember, and I can't give you a great geopolitical analysis of what's gone on since then and what my memories were of what the world was like when 9/11 took place. But one of the things that I remember is how at the time I was working, doing basically the same job that I'm doing now, but working on another website. And I remember that morning I had filed everything I was supposed to file, and I had gone out for a jog. And somebody stopped me as I was out jogging on that unbelievably beautiful day to say, "Hey, did you hear a plane hit the World Trade Center?" And I had not, so I was headed home anyway. And then it wasn't that much longer before somebody stopped me to say, "Did you hear a plane hit the World Trade Center?" And I said, "Yeah, I heard about it." And they said, "No, a second one." And at that point, I, like everybody else, knew that we were under attack. But the thing about that website, it was from that point on, for a number of weeks, my recollection is we sort of threw out our regular programming, right? And we basically extended it in an extended conversation with our user base to talk about their feelings, their emotions, and their reaction to what had happened on 9/11. And gradually we got back to normal. But the thing I remember is the reactions were so visceral and so honest. And I remember thinking to myself, this really is a community. Right? We had talked about it being a community, but it really was a community. And it was something that I saw as being important and innovative and different. And so when that website imploded for a lot of reasons, just basically weeks later, for reasons I won't bore you with, I just made the decision, this is too important. I'm going to do something else. And that's when I launched Morning Newsbeat. So as we come upon the 20th anniversary of 9/11, I do think about the voices that were lost, but also the voices that were heard and continue to be heard through this medium that we communicate on now, that 20 years ago was still pretty new. Not everybody was on it. And I think about how important that is, that voices have been raised and voices are being heard in a way that never before. Now, sometimes that's not always a good thing. I'm not sure that the rise of social media is a particularly good thing for the culture or the conversation that takes place in this country. But voices are being heard in a way that they were never heard before. And that's the thing that in so many ways I take away from 9/11. Anyway, that's one of the things that I'm going to be thinking about tomorrow. That's what's on my mind this morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.